All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us today for a brand new series that we're launching here at TAASA called Quick Tips. Today we'll be focusing on using Canva to make graphics and improving your outreach materials without a designer. So what we notice is that graphic design work is simply not accessible. It requires expensive software, think Adobe Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator. It requires like state-of-the-art computers, think Apple products, and then it requires extensive education and training. For example, our wonderful graphic designer here, Maddie, went to a four-year university to study graphic design, and we have another person on our team who went to grad school to study graphic design and visual communication. So these things are not always accessible for everyone, and especially in our movement where we're already facing the challenges of being underfunded and under-resourced. So that's why we're here today. We'll be starting this series, and we're going to be walking through some of the tools that will hopefully make the work you do a little bit easier and more accessible, especially since technology has evolved and new websites and phone apps are completely disrupting this highly monopolized industry. So our learning objectives are today to describe basic design concepts and how they enhance community engagement, and then identify readily available design tools for elevating awareness. And these tools are going to be free. So I am Brittany Clay. I'm the communications manager at TAASA, and
hi, I'm Maddie George, and I'm the graphic designer. And we're going to go ahead and just dive right on in the rest of this. So, what is Canva? Some of y'all may have heard of it before. Canva is a simplified graphic design tool website founded in 2012. It uses a drag and drop format and provides access to photographs, vector images, graphics, and fonts. You don't have to have all of the fancy software. You don't have to have a Mac. You don't have to be a graphic designer to use it. It's really accessible to all sorts of folks. Okay, why is Canva helpful? So we've got templates readily available. You can find templates to fit any need: PowerPoints, flyers, infographics, brochures, Instagram posts, booklets, etc. And you can also get it printed through Canva. It does cost money, but that's an option. Customization. You can easily drag and drop features. You can add your own colors, logos, fonts. Pretty much everything that you drag and drop in there can be changed color-wise, size-wise. It's really customizable. Next, we have stock images. There's access to thousands of images, free to use for you, royalty-free. You don't have to pay for them. There are some premium ones, but I'll show you later. They have a little indicator on there, so you don't pick those and have to pay for them later. And then you can download your designs in a variety of formats. You can share it online or in a version that's high resolution, so you can print it out and share offline. And then we have storage. You can keep all your designs on the account. You can come back to it later, customize them, share them with your team. You can even create a design team with multiple people who can access the same designs. And then cost, it's free. And as a nonprofit, you can get a free pro account. I have a link at the end. You do have to submit an application and be able to prove your 501c3 status. I have recently done that. I haven't heard back from them yet, but hoping that all goes well. All right, so here are some examples of things that we have made in Canva. These are things that could be posted as just a text block, but making it a graphic, we're engaging folks visually, and we see that it increases engagement and participation. They can be shared across multiple channels: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, and an email. But something to keep in mind is accessibility. Screen readers cannot read the words on these graphics. So when you are posting, you want to make sure that you put the text also with the post. And we have an example here. When we post on our Facebook, you can see that the post has the text, also, and the links so that the screen readers can read that to people. And for any techie webmasters out there, if you add these to your website, make sure that you put the alt text in describing what the image is. That is a good habit to get into for accessibility on the web. All right, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the design process. If you're feeling a little stuck, you're not a graphic designer, you don't know how to get started, I have some research questions that might be helpful to get your brain going. So who are you designing for? What's the problem you're trying to solve? What are you trying to achieve? Who are you trying to reach? How can you reach them? And miscellaneous but important information that you might not think about. So if you see these questions and you're like, I don't know how to answer this, I don't have the answers, one, I would encourage you to talk to folks in your organization that maybe do have the answers to this, because it'll help you make the best, most effective graphics. But here are some examples of some things that you might want to think about as you're doing your research. So when you're thinking about who you're designing for, think about the mission, the values, services, etc. What problem are you trying to solve? Maybe just raising awareness, maybe it's donations, maybe you're trying to promote an event. It doesn't necessarily have to be a problem, it can just be an action. What are you trying to achieve? So what are your goals with this? Are you trying to have a larger audience somewhere? Try to think about, get a good list of goals going. And then who are you trying to reach? Audience and demographics, that's really important, especially when you're posting for your communities. You want to make sure that you're tuned into that and not posting things that don't fit. How can you reach them? Style and tone, that goes with the audience too. Think about your color choices and your shapes and text and fonts and all of that, and how does it make you feel when you look at it? All right, and then these miscellaneous important information pieces might not apply to everybody's day-to-day design work, but we've got deliverables, budgets, timelines, stakeholders, point of contact. Those are all the boring things, but important things. And now we're going to go into talking about a flyer project that we have here.
So recently we had a site visit with the Family Crisis Center of Big Bend. And we walked away with a handful of materials that they had created in-house. And, we walked away knowing some of the challenges that they were experiencing in their community with outreach and engagement. As we were conceptualizing this webinar based on feedback that we've gotten from our membership, we thought, okay, maybe we can use one of the materials that they gave us and show how transformative Canva can be and increasing and improving the way that we do our outreach materials. Obviously, this flyer gets the job done. This is one that they use to reach community members in helping them identify if they are in a domestic violence situation or if someone they know and love is in a domestic violence situation, and they put these around the community. Well, the flyer gets the job done. The content is perfectly on par and it meets basic needs. But we think that with Canva, there are simple tweaks that can be made to increase awareness and ensure that people are seeing this flyer.
Yeah, so just a few things, and again, as Brittany said, this is a perfectly fine flyer. We're not criticizing in any other way except using it as an example here. There's a good amount of information, but there's not really a clear hierarchy. Everything is kind of just there. Everything is center aligned, which, sometimes that's what is easy, but it disrupts the hierarchy. Spacing isn't really consistent. There's 3 different fonts used, but it does encourage engagement with the phone number ripoff. So I do like that, and we'll probably keep that in our design redo. All right, to Canva we go. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up Canva and just show you guys some stuff here. All right, so when you log into Canva, if you make your account, it's free. I'd highly recommend everybody get it and at least play around with it. You'll see this design anything. You can type in something that you want to make or create a design. They've got so many options, as you can see here, presentations, Facebook covers, like it's pretty much whatever you want right there. And then over here we have the navigation. You can go all of your designs and see them all right here. And then they have this photo option. And I think most of these, as I said before, you see this like little premium button, you'd have to pay for that. I think they're like $1 per image, but there are some free ones. And usually those will pop up as you're designing. And then we've got this new feature on Canva that I really haven't explored, but printing. T-shirts, posters, business cards, like pretty much whatever you would need printed if you have the budget money for this. Ooh, it even has a, how much will this cost? That's fun. So lots of options here. They really include everything and make it really easy for you. And they have this cool thing called the brand kit, and I haven't uploaded our brand stuff, so I'm waiting to get the Pro version. You can add your brand colors, you know, whatever those are, and have all of that right here. You can upload your logo, pick your fonts. So if you do have a team, they can go through the brand kit, and it's like having a style guide, but in the software. All right, and then I'm going to show you the design school. So this webinar is a great intro, and if afterwards you want to dive in and do more on Canva, they've got some design courses here, graphic design basics, branding your business, presentations to impress. They've got these courses. If you get the Pro version, they have more courses here. Toolkits, practicing skills. This is a really great resource too, especially if you're not a creative person. If you think that you're not, then this is a good place to start. All right, and I'm going to show you our design team here, which just has our one little post, but you can organize your stuff in folders. You can add your members. I've got some people here, and create groups. You really like being organized, this might be the place for you. All right, now I'm going to kind of just show you really quickly what it might look like if you're going through and creating a, let's say, social media graphic here. So when you open up a new file, you're going to see all of this stuff here. You've got your page, you can add new pages, templates, photos, elements, text, background, uploads, folders, and so on. So templates, I suggest you start with a template. It's a great starting point. It's really easy to get going here. Some of them are free, some of them are not because they use elements that you would have to pay for. But if you do click on something and it's not free, it'll usually have this watermark on there, and if you try to download it, it'll make you pay for it. So try to keep it in that free zone. Let's see, I don't want this. Delete all that. So let's say we want to do a quote graphic here. Let me just do this. So this is a great way to start doing something. You can go in here and customize your text. And as you can see, everything is just kind of a dragging, dropping, moving around. Each element is its own. I can change the color of pretty much everything. These color choices are not great, so don't copy me on this. But this is a good starting point. And let's say you want to add some images to this. Drag and drop, put this as the background, making it bigger, smaller, you can crop. Canva really does a great job with providing a bunch of different options for you. Ooh, I just need to pick a better color there. All right. And then elements. This is a cool little feature because, as I was saying before, all of the elements, you can change the color to fit whatever you need. They have icons, gradients, shapes, charts. You can make infographics in here, grids. They have different stuff depending on what time of the year it is. So you can have the fall, little things like that. I'll just go ahead and show you how to drag and drop and change colors here. You can position it differently. All right. And then maybe I want to add a icon. Some free ones here. It's a nice little flower. All right, so as you see, this is a really quick little thing. It doesn't look that great, so you can play around with colors, and if you add some of your brand stuff, then maybe incorporating those colors could be good too. I'm gonna just go ahead and change some of this. You can make it bigger. Go over here, you can change the font. This. Add more images to that. Change this color, use some teal. Okay. All right, now I'm going to talk about text. With the template, there was already text here, and you saw me deleting some. Sometimes it'll come up in groups, and so you have to ungroup to edit specific things. So here you can just like drag and drop heading images or heading text. Maybe it'll let me, there we go, just click on it and add it. Or if you don't know how to build these by yourself, it's a little overwhelming. They have some here that you can just click on, it'll automatically add it. You can edit whatever you need to, and it has the preset fonts already there. So I'm going to just keep it like this for right now, but I am going to talk about the background. Right now it's just yellow, it's kind of plain, but as you see here, look at all these images that you can pick from, and all of these right here are free. So when you click on them, they'll just automatically be added to the background. And, that looks nice. Maybe you want water or whatever you're talking about with your graphic. Maybe I'll do, I like the flowers. Okay, so pretty quickly we just took a template, added some changes, we changed the font, we added a graphic, changed the background. That was pretty easy. Let me see what's up here for you guys. So all of these things, you see position, this just relates to how it's positioned on this canvas here. You can change the opacity, transparency, right there. You can lock layers, which might be, you might like that, maybe you don't need that in all of your designs. You can delete things, you can even link to different websites. So when you're exporting, you'll have a clickable link. And then uploads. So here you can upload your logos or whatever other outside images. You don't have to just rely on the photos that are in Canva. So let's see, I'm gonna put our logo on here. Just put it down here in the corner. That was pretty easy, and now we have like a branded graphic that you could download and share really quickly. All right, and then we have folders. If you do purchase stuff or you have likes, or if you're pro, you can add your own images and organize that here. Then under more, there's all these apps, and I just discovered using our Instagram, you can like connect this, and then maybe instead if you wanted to put your images on the background there, that could be a nice little addition. Really, all right, well you can't see the people there, but you know, yeah, so that's a good intro, good way to start there. See all of these different apps. And then let's say, I don't like this picture being the background. Lovely coworkers, I love them, but I'm not sure really what they say. Okay, so let's say we're done with this graphic. What are we gonna do now? You can rename it so that when you do download it, it has the name in the file name. Okay, so how do you want to publish? You want to download it, you can share it to your Facebook page, a group, Twitter, Pinterest, Slack. There's a variety of ways you can get this out. I would just say download. PNG is great for sharing on social media. JPEG is fine, but as you send it, as it's shared more and more, the quality of the image will decrease. You get more and more pixelated. PDF, that's good for printing, multiple page documents, but probably not for sharing on social media because that file type might be able to be read. And then if your thing is animated or has a video, then you can also export it in a video in MP4 format or a GIF.
Something to think about too is that I've previously made this mistake where I downloaded a file as a PNG and then I needed to print it last minute and the file wasn't really good quality. It was kind of like low resolution. So if for some reason you need to print it, if it's a flyer that you're handing out or if it's a postcard, then make sure that you're downloading the file type accordingly, or you'll, last minute be somewhere and then realize that the quality isn't as good as it needs to be. Just something to think about.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and do PNG here. I'm gonna download. And I've got it here. It's on my computer. If I can bring it over to the screen, maybe not. All right, so it is downloaded and it's going to show up here on my designs, and I can come back and edit it if I need to. And keep in mind that if you're changing you already have your stuff and you're changing the template, it'll reorganize everything based on what you have just chosen. So that's a quick little intro to Canva, and you can do all of that with all of these different designs. So there's templates for literally every single one of these. I recommend that you just go through and kind of check it out, maybe play around, explore. There's a lot of cool stuff in here to find and discover. All right, now we're going to show you our finished product with that flyer that we showed you earlier. And here it is. I spent some time in Canva playing around with this. And Brittany, do you want to say anything about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you'll see with this flyer project, we kind of broke up the text so that it's not centered. We changed the background, and while it may seem like a little more colorful and fun for a topic that's not so fun, we find that people will be a little more receptive if we don't use kind of those scary stock images, because as you know, a lot of times people maybe don't want to label what they're experiencing as abuse or violence. We find that this will be a little more inviting if we were to put it into coffee shops and into restaurants on the bulletin boards there. So we used only 2 different fonts this time around, and then that splash of color again on the background.
And we have a clear hierarchy here. I broke up the text so it's not centered all the way down. It's more on like a grid. Only the 2 fonts, this one up here, and then the font that's in the body. And we kept this interactive piece, so you would just like cut these along here and make it be ripped off. You might think that the background is a little bright and fun, but as Brittany said, you know, we're trying to engage more folks, and if it's just kind of a plain white background, it could be easily flipped over. You don't want that to happen. You want people to come use your services when they need them. Okay. All right, so like I said before, just a couple of little quick tips on hierarchy, because this is what I see a lot of, not issues, but there can be a little bit of struggling here with it. So as you see in this graphic, it's a clear example of how hierarchy is important. So it says you will read this first, and then you'll read this, then this one, and then way up here in the corner, you'll read this at the end. And then an example here to just kind of show you some different paragraph styles, as I call them, with the headline. It's different than the subheader. You can clearly see that this is the first thing that you're going to read. The subheader, it's a lighter color, but it's pretty smaller, but still important. Then you have just your regular old text block there, call to action at the bottom. You don't always need that, but maybe you want that in there. It's probably the last thing that you would want to see, you would want the viewer to see as they're going through. Hierarchy really helps with the flow of the information, and it helps the reader or whoever is interacting go through and see the information in the way that you want them to digest it. So if you have a pull quote or something, you know, you can put that in a different background, be a call out. People are gonna look at that. You're calling attention to different things. If you have big blocks of text and maybe there's some stats in there, you could pull them out and make a graph for them, or bolding things or highlighting things. All of those are going to change the order that folks are going to read what you have, and it can really help break up those big, boring blocks of text that nobody really wants to get through. And then finalizing your designs. We talked a little bit about this in Canva, but just wanted to go over it again. So printing, uploading, publishing, wherever you're putting this out into the world, make sure you've got the right file type. As I said before, PDF, that's good for multiple pages. It's not good for uploading on Instagram or Facebook. JPEG is a good file type for images. As you can see over here, it's going to have that white background. It's not going to have a transparent background like the PNG could potentially have. PNG is a good file format for the internet, for your social media accounts. You can have a transparent background like you see here. But I think on Canva, the transparent background you have to have a pro account for. And then the quality. So dimensions, Canva already sizes all of your designs for the purpose that you selected it for. So you don't have to worry about changing the dimensions. It's going to have a number there already picked for the best quality. So you don't really need to worry about that. But if you're designing outside of Canva, you know, maybe use Canva as a reference for what your dimensions should be. And then DPI and PPI, you don't really need to worry about that with Canva because they're putting all of that into the dimensions and the quality. But if you're working outside of Canva, that's like the resolution that you would be uploading it. And the lower the number, the less quality it'll be. The higher the number, the bigger the file, but the less pixelation and the clearer the image will be. All right, and then last thing here, free design resources. for you guys, Canva, obviously, and there's a link here to fill out the application for the free nonprofit account, the Pro. Highly recommend everybody make an account. And then Creative Market, 6 free design goods every Monday, design elements and templates for purchase. You might want to check that out if you need inspiration too. They've got a lot of great items on there. All right, and see, this big list is a link here, and these are just a few from that list that I picked out that you can utilize. This humans one, I've got 2 illustrations there from that website. Free illustrations, you don't have to credit anybody for them. You can use them on whatever you want, as many times as you want. They've got a good selection. If you use stock videos, cover.co, it's got some free ones. I haven't really explored that one, so I'm not sure what the selection is, but it's free. We use the Noun project quite a bit here at TAASA. I try to use icons and illustrations and not images of people all the time, because as you all may know, if you Google search human trafficking for images in a stock photo thing, you're going to get a bunch of like really triggering, sad, depressing images that we're trying to not share out and trigger and traumatize people when they're interacting with our materials. So free icons for literally every single word that you could think of. You can download them and use them for whatever you want. You don't have to credit. You can also have a pro account and change the color of the icons before you download them. It's an awesome resource. And then this big list of free design resources, it has 50 other resources that you can check out for images, videos, fonts, resources on how do you combine fonts, color theory, all sorts of stuff. So I would recommend that you check that out if you're doing any type of graphic design work.
And something to add too is a part of our quick tips series, we hope to do walkthroughs through the various free resources that exist. Because again, even just discussing the DPI, I realized for sure that goes over my head as someone that didn't study graphic design and color theory. So I personally know that, again, some of this is inaccessible, but the more we recognize that there are free tools that exist that can help us get there to improve our materials and hopefully improve our engagement and increase the amount of survivors that we're working with, you know, we'll start to see some of the value here of maybe there's little time it takes to become adjusted to some of these tools are, but ultimately in the long run, it'll make more sense for our organization.
Mm-hmm. And another thing is, since we're going to be doing a series on these type of free resources, if there's anything out there that you guys want us to talk about, we're taking suggestions. For sure, share any questions that you have about Canva or about any other free resources or software, and maybe we'll have that in our next webinar series. So thank you for checking this out and staying with us. If anybody has any questions, you can go ahead and put that in the chat. Got a few more minutes here. I'll try to answer the best I can, or Brittany will answer. So thank you guys, and don't forget you can download the PowerPoint under materials, and that has all those links. If you have more specific questions, feel free to shoot me an email. I'm not going to do your design for you, but I can answer your questions. Thanks, everyone. All right. We got a question here. Do you need an account for the Noun project? Yes, you do. It's free. And actually, you might just be able to log in and not create an account. But for the pro version, you definitely need an account.
Any other questions while we're still here? Okay, well, if you think of any later, please feel free to shoot us an email. We love to hear from everyone.
All right. we're going to sign off. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Oh, wait, we got one more question. Does everyone in the nonprofit usually get approved for free pro? That's a good question. I think they have a eligibility form that you can look at on their website under the help section. I think you'll be able to see it on that link. And I have not received our approval yet, so I'm not sure if everybody gets approved. I hope so.
I will say that I've personally used Canva and been able to do a ton and download a ton without having had a pro account. So you can for sure still get started. But it's just there's more benefits to having a pro account for sure. As for the certificate for attendance, let's look into that.
I think with GoTo.
Yeah, I think there should be one.
That's sent afterwards.
But we'll make sure that you get one, Leslie. Anything else?
All right, we're gonna just stay on for like maybe 1 more minute or so if anybody else is typing out a question. I'd love to hear if anybody has software that they've been using other than Canva.
Thank you, Jamila.
Thanks.
All right, well, we hope this was helpful, and we look forward to doing this more because while you're doing this work, we want to do everything we can to make sure that you have access to the materials that you need. So thank you all for joining us today, and if you have any emails again, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will for sure post next time we have one of these series, and we will give you more notice 100%.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.